A single number changes on a departure board in Tokyo Station. Not a minute, not even 10 seconds. 1 second. And somewhere on the platform, a member of staff quietly makes a note of it. To most people watching, this would mean nothing at all. A train arriving 1 second later than planned is not a delay. It's not even worth noticing. But in Japan, it might be. By the end of this documentary, you'll understand why an entire country has built one of its most trusted institutions around a number most of us wouldn't even be able to perceive. Let's start with the number everyone has heard, but almost nobody has actually seen for themselves. Japan's high-speed Shinkansen network moves more than 100 million passengers a year at speeds well over 200 kilometers an hour. And its average delay across an entire year is measured not in minutes. It's measured in seconds. Some networks report figures as low as 20 seconds of average delay per train annually. Others report just under a minute. Either way, the number sounds almost impossible for a system moving this many people, this fast, across an entire country. So what does a number that small actually require? To understand that, you have to stop thinking of a train schedule as a suggestion and start thinking of it as a promise. In Japan, a train isn't considered on time if it simply arrives close to the scheduled minute. By some operational standards, a departure only counts as on time if it happens within about 15 seconds of the printed schedule, not 15 minutes. 15 seconds. And it works in both directions. In 2017 and again in 2018, two separate rail operators issued formal public apologies, not because a train was late, because it left the station roughly 20 seconds early. To many people outside Japan, that sounds almost absurd. A train that left slightly ahead of schedule seems like the opposite of a problem. But to the people who run these networks, an early departure isn't a small win. It's a broken promise to anyone who arrived exactly on time, expecting the train to still be there. Punctuality in this system isn't just about avoiding delay. It's about protecting trust down to the second. So how do you actually build a system precise enough to keep that promise, hour after hour, day after day? Part of the answer is mechanical. Japan's high-speed lines run largely on dedicated tracks, separated from slower regional traffic, removing one of the biggest sources of unpredictable delay before a single train even leaves the station. Automated control systems constantly monitor train speed and spacing, adjusting in real time far faster than a human operator could manage alone. And built into every timetable are small, deliberate buffers, tiny pockets of extra time, engineered specifically to absorb minor delays before they can ripple down the line. But the technology alone doesn't fully explain what happens at the platform. Some of the most experienced Shinkansen drivers are able to bring a train weighing hundreds of tons, traveling at enormous speed, to a stop within about 1 centimeter of a marked position on the platform. Not 1 meter, 1 centimeter. That kind of precision isn't just programmed into a machine, it's trained into a person. And once a train finally stops, another countdown immediately begins. At some of Japan's busiest stations, a train may spend as little as 12 minutes at the platform, total. Passengers need about 2 minutes to get off,
roughly 3 more minutes to board, which can leave as little as 7 minutes to completely clean the entire interior of a train car, roughly 100 seats, before it needs to depart again. One person is often responsible for that entire process. 7 minutes to reset an entire carriage, spotless, before the next promise to the next set of passengers begins all over again. It's tempting to look at numbers like this and assume the system simply cannot fail. But that assumption is exactly where the real story gets more interesting. Engineers who help run these networks have pointed out something surprising. The more reliable an automated system becomes, the less practice human operators get at manually handling the moments when something actually does go wrong. In other words, the system's greatest strength can quietly become its biggest vulnerability. And on rare occasions, that vulnerability becomes very real. In one recent winter, a power failure at a single station in Tokyo knocked out 2 major commuter lines for up to 9 hours. 2 of the busiest rail lines in the world suddenly stopped. More than 500,000 passengers were affected in a single morning. For a system famous for counting delays in seconds, 9 hours wasn't just a disruption. It was a glimpse of what the entire system is quietly protecting against every single day it succeeds. Because the truth is, this level of precision was never really about the trains themselves. It was about something much harder to build. An entire population's willingness to trust a schedule down to the second, station after station, for decades at a time. Every properly cleaned carriage, every train stopped within a centimeter of its mark, every apology issued for leaving 20 seconds early.
They're all small, quiet pieces of the same much larger idea. That reliability isn't just a feature of a good transportation system. It's a promise kept in public millions of times a day. The next time you glance at a departure board anywhere in the world and see a number quietly tick forward by a single minute, you might think of Tokyo differently. Somewhere on a platform not far from here, that single minute would already be considered a failure worth explaining. And somehow, they've built an entire country around making sure it almost never happens.